everyone. This is Pamela from Design Wishes by Pamela, here to share with you my first project for the year 2021. I'm really happy to bring you this boxed album collection that I created and designed using the beautiful paper collection from Graphic 45 entitled Lost in Paradise. Here are just a few still photos of the project before we dive into the video. I will provide some of the products that I used, a little bit of the techniques that I used to create this design. This is a 8.5 by 8.5 box with an inlay, and I'll explain that as we go through the video, that houses the album. So what I'm showing you right here is the front part of the box. I did a fair amount of fussy cutting on some of the designer paper, and yeah, if you're a Graphic 45 paper collector like I am, it's after all these years, it's still hard for me to do that. But I dove in there and I took a deep breath and I did some fussy cutting to get the images of these lovely birds and florals that are in the designer set. And here it is right here. I used a combination of the solids and patterns, 12 by 12 packet. And then I also used the 8 by 8 designer paper that coordinates with the patterns and solids. Just an absolutely gorgeous paper collection from Graphic 45. So again, this is an 8.5 by 8.5 box, and you can see, I'm going to bring this up a little bit so you can see how I used foam squares or dots to pop up some of the elements like the flowers and the bird there on the lower left hand corner, just to give the front of the box a little bit of design dimension. I also created an inlay by carefully scoring away a layer of the Graphix chipboard to make the paradise is not a place, it's a state of mind. I used some Mod Podge just to give it a little bit of shimmer. I'm showing you the top of the box so that I can share with you how I created the rivets per se for the hinges and the detailing on the box. I used some large brads. I don't have where I got this from as far as the brand. I don't have the brand of the brads because they were gifted to me by my sister Mary. But what I did was I took my wire cutters and I laid them flush on the head of the brad, and I carefully cut away the prongs, and that gives me just the head of the brad. And then what I used is some Weldbond liquid glue, adhesive glue. Works great on everything you see there, wood, glass, but it also works wonderful on paper mixed media projects. I use a variety of liquid adhesive, everything from Glossy Accents to Aleene's to Barely Art, but for this project I used the Weldbond, and I liked how it performed on this design. So another thing that I want to share with you that I used in this project that I've used in other projects is Kraftex, and you'll see the label in just a second. This is a craft paper fabric, and when they say fabric, they truly mean fabric and a lot more. You can die cut this. You can die cut it on a Big Shot or a Vagabond or a Cameo or a Cricut or whatever die cutting tool you use that can handle a somewhat thick material. You could see here through this little piece that I have as a sample, it is very flexible. You can stain it, you can paint it, you can sew it, you can wash it, you can stamp on it. Super versatile material. So if you don't have it, I encourage you to get it. I'll put a link on where I got it from on Amazon, but I usually keep this for on hand so for my mixed media projects. So the hinges that you see that I have here are a silhouette design piece that I will share with you the design number in the YouTube description box and also on my blog. I also used snap rivets. These are for scrapbooking. I think I have also used sewing in the past, rivets that you can do from sewing, but I just happen to have these on hand. Uh, and these worked really well because they kind of matched the brass of the brad heads, and there it is right there. So it's a snap closure. I use super strong adhesive. I think I actually used two adhesive types. I used Gorilla Glue for jewelry. I had some in my jewelry making supplies. And then I also use Glossy Accents. You really want to use a strong adhesive when you are attaching snap or anything like that using Kraftex or actually not even just Kraftex. I use it for anything that I want to make sure that's going to stick, especially if it's a mixed media type. Kept the back of the box pretty simple with the pretty papers from the collection. So the snap works as simple as that. And you see, if you're going to be going in and out of box like this, you want it to stick on there and not come apart when you unsnap it. The box flips over, and inside is the coordinating album that I designed for this project. But I will share that with you just a minute. I want to give a little bit more details on the outside box itself and the inside. So again, it's all constructed with the Graphix. I used my Liquitex Mars Black paint to give the box a little bit more dimension. That is layered on top of the Graphix and also the Recollections cardstock, the black cardstock. I can tell you that I use my go-to pre-gummed reinforced mailing tape. I will also put a link in my blog and also a link in the description box to show you what I used. As you can see, when the box opened, part of the paradise is not a place but a state of mind. In order for that to open up, I had to use a magnet. And these little tiny magnets are super, super strong. I usually use the basic gray magnets, but I wanted something a little bit lower profile, but not compromising on the strength. And you can see how tiny they are, but they really stick down securely. The other half, or the left-hand side of that journaling card, is adhered permanently down to the box with 3M foam tape. Coincidentally, it's the same thickness as two of the magnets, so I didn't compromise on the leveling out that piece of the box. I again covered the majority of the interior and exterior edges with the Liquitex Mars Black paint. Love it. Use it all the time. I'm also showing you the inside tray where I designed a place for the album to actually sit very nicely. And you can see I am bending that Kraftex hinge that I made over and over again, and it's just not going to wear down over time. It's just going to keep its shape, and it's going to wear nicely. The box will not fall apart. So wow, let's get into the album. The album is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. I used my crocodile stub end to put a little detail on the ends of the album back and front cover. Approximately 8 1/4, 8 1/4 square, and approximately a 2 1/4 inch spine here. You can see some of the sticker element I used along with the brad head for the spine. And I'm going to show you here how nicely this album just fits right into that built-in tray that I made. those end pieces that you see there at the lower right, that actually keeps the album together. There's some wiggle room for more three-dimensional embellishments if I wanted to, but it also aids in the box closing nice and tight. And again, some of the beautiful papers there from the collection. So the other thing I thought about is the flexibility of the spine. I wanted the album to have some movement so that the pages can open out a little bit more easily, lay flat or flatter a little bit more easily. And so I kept the spine really flexible. So instead of using a rigid piece of the Graphix chipboard to make the spine and attach it to the back and front of covers, I left it floating. And just in that last clip, you saw that I also used the Graphic 45 Lost in Paradise sticker elements to add some embellishments to the inside of the album. So here's the inside front cover and facing page. These are 4x6 photo mats. The black cardstock is cut 4.5 by 6.5, and the white cardstock is cut 4.25 by 6.25. So plenty enough room for a 4x6 photo. Excuse me. This album is dedicated to a larger format photo. So if you're afraid or don't want to cut a 4x6 photo or a 5x7 photo, you don't have to using this format that I use, because you can just simply place your 4x6 or 5x7 photo right into it. I do have a few 3x5 photo mats as well. So one of the fun things I like to do with paper is cut away some of the design elements just a bit so that I can slide in an embellishment, a journaling card, or in this case, a photo mat. So I just carefully use a sharp craft knife, and that gives me the ability to slide in my photo mat. And it also gives me the ability to showcase a design element in the designer paper. You just want to make sure you're careful, but use a really sharp craft knife and take your time. So here's one of the pages that I used 3x5 photo mats. The black cardstock is 3.5 by 5.5, and the white cardstock is 3.25 by 5.25. I did a little label, detailed it out with my stub punch, took a cut apart, and made a tuck spot on this page to add more photos to journaling card, or again, one of the beautiful cut aparts from the collection. This is the stub crocodile punch that I used. But you know, if you want to duplicate this design, you could use whatever corner rounder that you have. So this short page is 8.25 by 6.25 or 6.5, and that's what you see on the right hand side, on the left hand side, and then the right hand side is a full 8.25 by 8.25, and those are two 5x7 photo mats. Each page has a pocket, and each pocket has a pocket insert that could be used as a photo mat or a journaling card. And for the pullout, I took 2 punches and I created the pullout tab. Now, I didn't want to use my tab punch. I wanted to do something different. So I took a 5/8 inch circle punch and a 1 inch circle punch. I first punched the 5/8 inch on a piece of black cardstock. I'm showing you with the scrap piece here. And then I lined up my 1 inch punch over the 5/8 inch hole so that it's even all the way around, and I punched that out. I actually made 2, so there's 2 pieces. I wanted the pullout to be strong enough when the page is pulled out. So then what I did was I centered one of the circle punch outs onto the black cardstock for the page pullout, which you're going to see in a minute. And then once I centered that and glued it down, I glued the other half of the circle onto the back side of that black cardstock, and then I glued those pieces together. And that's what gives me my pull-out ring for each page pullout. Here I just added a sticker element. This is a 5x7 photo mat. I left the border of about half an inch all the way around this page, and I repeat this page design throughout the album. Here I took a 3x5 photo mat and I put it on top of a 4x6 photo mat onto the side of the page. And then I wanted something a little subtle to counter the gorgeous, rich, deep detail in the page that I'm showing you now. I used that cutout detail. I also used it throughout the entire album to showcase this 5x7 photo mat. And it just slides in there beautifully and really does showcase the chosen elements well. I think it adds to the uniqueness of the design. Also, if you don't have access to magnets, if you don't have Velcro, or can't think of how you can adhere a photo mat to a page, but also make it removable, this is a unique way to do it. On this page, I took a sticker element, I backed it with some cardstock, and I left it as a tuck spot to again add some of the journaling cards from the collection or additional photos or embellishments to this page. Again, leaving a 1/2 inch border all the way around the page. So you can see how this album really lends to larger photos. Just really gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous paper. And you see, with those cutout details, they disappear when you take your photo mat out. So, you know, if you're afraid I'm going to lose the beauty of the paper, you really don't lose the beauty of the paper. This is a 3x5 photo mat. And again, coordinating insert. The color cardstock for the coordinating insert and the black cardstock is all Recollections brand from the Michaels store. Here is a layout showing 4 3x5 photo mats, 2 on the left hand side landscape, 2 on the right hand side portrait style. I used a sticker and some cardstock just to make a little design element on the blue page. I replicated the coordinating sticker element from the collection as a tuck spot. For this page, I did not leave the 1/2 inch border all the way around. I really like this yellow printed paper from the collection, so I just made it an 1/8 inch smaller. And again, I used that cutout detail to showcase the beautiful elements of this paper design for a 4x6 photo mat. Again, those 4x6 photo mats are, the black cardstock is 4.5 by 6.5, and the white cardstock is 4.25 by 6.25. Here again, the sticker element, I repeated the 4x6 photo mat, 1/2 inch border on that page, the cutout detail on the designer paper, and a 5x7 photo mat. I used the sticker elements that spelled out the word dream with a green background on the 4x6 photo mat page. And then on the inside 8 1/4 by 6 1/2 page, I made a pocket and I used my trademark. I'm going to have to say it's my trademark because I use it almost all the time. Punch from Stampin' Up! To make that little pocket. I use it so much it's the little clip is broken. You probably noticed that. But I love this punch, and I don't know if it's retired, but I love it. 4x6 photo mat fits nicely in that pocket, and a 3x5 is what you see on the front there. Another one of the lovely sticker elements finishes off this pocket along with the stubbed corner that I achieved using my crocodile. 2 large generous 5x7 photo mats on each side of this layout. And a large photo pocket insert. So as you can see, plenty of places to put large photos. This is the back cover and last page. I used the same elements. This time I did the designer paper side by side with an 1/8 inch border all the way around. So I just cut the paper an 1/8 inch less than the black cardstock. On this side, I use something from Avery Products called pocket tabs. I love these things. They're an office supply item. Here's what they look like. These are repositional. However, I didn't want this pocket to be repositional, so I did tear away the release paper, but I added red tape on the back of the pocket because I really wanted a more permanent attachment for my project. I also cut off that end tab for it. I like to use things in different ways, and this was a really great find. I think it was even clearanced at the office supply store, so I got a good deal on them. But they just open simply. They're see-through. That's what I like the most because you still see the beauty of the paper, but you can add like receipts or small photos. Like I have one of those mini sprocket cameras, so I could put one of those little sprocket photos in here if I wanted to, 1 or 2 or more. So if you were using this for a paradise as a state of mind, you could put little pieces of affirmation that you gather into the pocket, or little keepsakes for that. Or if you were using this for a vacation or a travel book, you could put receipts from your travel in there. So here again, you see how easily the spine floats and moves. And there's plenty enough room to add photos and plenty enough room to add a little bit more three-dimensional. And I don't want to miss saying that I did use the Tim Holtz Distress ink in those 2 colors that you saw here there. And that's to ink the edges of my fussy cutting because I didn't want to see the white core of the paper. And this is a good way to make it disappear when you're doing fussy cutting, especially if you're not exactly perfect in your fussy cutting. So again, box opens up, the album slips right inside comfortably and snugly, not too tight. Lots of room to move around in there, but it stays nice and secure in the box. And the box just closes right over the album and then secures with the snap. And the magnets hold the title of the box in place. I really, really like this design. It took me a bit to come up with the actual sample for it, but I'm glad I was able to execute it in a way that I think is appealing. I hope you liked it too. If you do like what you see, please give me a thumbs up on this video. If you're not subscribing to my YouTube channel, I would be happy for you to join me. Take a look at all of the videos that I have there on YouTube, and also follow me on my blog. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much again for watching this video. And again, Happy New Year to all of you.